I broke all the rules creating this real estate video and it went viral. Over 100,000 views across all platforms. This is not your typical real estate video. Today, I'm going to teach you how you can level up your editing skills by breaking the rules and create real estate videos that go viral. The first thing that we're going to cover from this video is the flow. I believe that the flow of any video, and this video specifically, is so important. Now, what is flow? Flow is pretty much the cohesiveness of the visuals and the audio and how it affects the progression of the video. So we have just the visuals with the music. Now, this song is called Trance by Metro Boomin. It's a really sick song. And what I really liked about this song, actually, let's just give it a quick listen. Super sick song. It's a vibe. I love it. Now, what I like about this song is that it's different. It's got a little bit of a sway to it. Now, I think it was recorded in 4/4 time with a sway. I'm not sure. I don't think it was 6/8 time, but it's got a little bit of a sway to it, right? Boom, right? That's kind of the flow and the beat of the music compared to most songs are just bop, 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 bop. This one is bop, 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 right? So there's triplets in there, which I really like and I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But you can kind of hear how that sway in the music kind of has that fun extra little, I don't know, extra little vibe enhancer, if you want to call it that. It's probably super cringe, but that's what's kind of coming off the top of my head right now. Right? You can hear that little bouncy sway. So when I'm editing, I want to edit in relation to that, right? I could edit just on the 1, 2, 3, 4, and I kind of did in some places, but I want the visuals to enhance that sway to the music. So that's what I did right here. If I turn off this, you can kind of see it. If we listen and watch, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, boom. Obviously, it's lagging a little bit, so if I turn that off, boom, right? So I'm editing to how not only just the beat of the 1, 2, 3, 4, but a little bit of the melody, a little bit of how the rhythm is progressing as well. Even the speed ramp is on time, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hits on the snare. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right here, this zoom out. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You can't see the music, but the visuals act as the visual representation of how the music is flowing in the rhythm. Now, let's talk about the explicit flow. How do the visuals actually flow together? This is a big thing for me. I love paying attention. I'm super passionate about this kind of stuff. So how does this video visually flow? Let's start with the intro. We've got these 3 shots that are all moving kind of down and from right to left, right? 3, 4, 1, right? They're all flowing in the same direction. So that really helps with visual flow and cohesiveness. They're all moving in the same direction. They have a pretty similar angle, or I guess composition, I should say, right? And then we cut into a push in, all right? And then these clips right here, they're all detail shots, but look at this. They're all moving in the same direction. They're all moving in the same direction, and they all have a slight keyframe from about 103% to 100%. So very subtle, but that helps so much with the visual flow, especially in fast montages. It feels a lot more cohesive. It's also easier to comprehend if everything is moving and if everything's moving in the same direction, right? Then we go here, we've got the zoom out, and then we ramp, And this actually makes sense because it's not a push in, but we're ramping kind of into the same direction that this shot ends up curving. That's flow. That is your explicit, your visual flow, and the audio flow of the music. The next thing I want to cover from this video is going to be the sound design. So the sound design, I really went crazy on the sound design here because, and I'm going to play this for you in a second, you could actually watch this whole video without the music, just the sound effects, and still, I would say it's relatively engaging. So I'm going to play this video for you with only the sound design, and then I'll break it down. Every single sound effect here, this is very intentional. I didn't just throw stuff and like see what works and just layer random effects. I'm gonna break this down for you, start to finish, top to bottom, whatever, and show you like each sound design, each sound effect is very intentional. So let's get into it. First things we're gonna start off with. Little camera focus beep. The only reason it's there is to be an audio hook. Now, obviously it's mixed in with the music, but that's what it serves. That's the purpose it serves. Just a little thing to grab your attention. I also have a sound, or a windly ghostly gust is what it's called. It's just kind of a wind gust sound effect. Usually I add those over exterior shots, but then I just extended it out over kind of the intro shots. I was like, hey, this actually sounds pretty good. So I just left it in there and faded it out at the end. And then we have this riser here. Now, on its own, if we were to actually bring the music in, let's listen to why it's there. Right, so if we were to take the sound effects out, there's this little break before we get into the drop. We've got the heavy, bassy sub drums or whatever, and then we just drop out for like 2 beats before we get into the drop, right? Cuts out. So I wanted to have some sound effects there to elevate that transition. So we're going to have the riser to build in, and then this exhale whoosh is there to release that tension and kind of emphasize that break. So if we were to take the music out, we have this whoosh impact here that comes in because now the music comes in, we hit the drop, and I wanted something to really emphasize that. Again, the sound effects are here to elevate, to emphasize the music. So if we listen to this, how this drop comes in, right? It's got a little bit of a riser to it, and then we've got that impact, that kind of sub bass kind of hit. Then we have the whoosh under the speed ramps. That's something I always do. Nothing really new there. And then we get into this cool montage. If we activate the film overlay, I'm going to touch on the overlay in a little bit. But if we're to look at the visuals here, right, I have this overlay, so I want to have some sound effects to, well, again, elevate that. So if we turn off the music and just watch this little segment right here, right, so this is kind of like a film overlay combo sound effect that I use to kind of introduce a visual film overlay. And then we come out, we've got a reverbed camera shutter. That's one of my favorite sound effects. And then this sunlight, obviously, because we hit this shot and we've got this awesome sun flare coming through. All right, we come out of the film burn. It's just so sick. Then we have a metallic riser to come into this cool little break. So let's turn the music back on. All right, so you can hear that metallic riser subtly coming through. We're rising up into this kind of visual break and turn that into an audio break as well. But then we also have a sub drop, and then we threw in if we go here, we threw in a low pass filter on the music. So low pass is what gives that the music or the sound that underwater type sound, right? Where we go and then it kind of drops off and it sounds kind of distant. That's what we use here, a low pass. Now, what I thought was really cool about this is the low pass just isn't anywhere. It's right when he says sub. So if we were to turn this off, right? She called in a man, I brought in a sub, and then as he says sub, low pass comes in, and then we hit a sub drop to emphasize that. All right, the sub, and then boom, and the music drops out, then it pops back in. Then we move into kind of the ending sequence. All right, so there we've got a lot. We've got this airy fluttering whoosh. It's really more of a riser, but it's kind of that kind of thing as we build up. Then we hit here and there's a speed ramp, but instead of putting a whoosh under there, I have this overlay. It's actually mixed with this visual right here, but it's kind of this, if we listen here, it's kind of a transition sound effect, right? So we have this airy riser. Then we have the glass shard riser that really cuts through the noise, and then it's going to hit right here. And then these are kind of drum impacts I got from Multiply Sound, and they actually are there to emphasize the drum beat of the song. Right? Now, if we add those into the music, right? Right? And so there you go. That's how the sound design all intertwines and elevates the music as well as the visuals, right? So there's layers to this. There's layers to this. It all makes sense. Now, if you're wondering where I get my sound effects from, man, I get my sound effects from so many different places. So many different places. I don't even know some of these where I got them from. I'm getting these sound effects from all over the place. Some of these I don't even remember where I got them from, or someone sent them to me, so I don't know where they got them from. Now that we're done with the sound effects, let's move into the visual effects. So just like I put a lot of intention into the sound design and the music, the audio aspect of this video, I also wanted to do the same for the visuals, right? Obviously the shots, the composition, the house is really cool, but I wanted to have, you know, a little extra something. You know what I'm saying? First things first, I want to talk about one of my favorite effects that I've been using a lot, and that is M Film Look by Motion VFX. This is a really cool effect. Now, you can do a lot with M Film Look. Here's where things get fun. This is the aberration effect. Now, if we were to toggle this on and off, you really see it. You see it in the corners, right? If we were to turn this off, right, look at kind of the lights right here on the edges, turn it on, we get a little bit of that RGB split, and it also blurs a little bit. I think it's a really cool effect to just add some, I don't really know what to call it. It just adds a little bit more to the image. I think that's the best way I can put it. Then I messed around with the lens distortion a little bit. So you can see if I toggle it on and off, very, very subtle. I actually kind of keyframed it in. To be honest, I don't really think it did all that much, but it's there, just a little bit of that distortion. Again, I wanted, because this is a horizontal video and there's no human for the hook, I needed to make sure that the hook or the beginning of this video was unique and it was a banger. So that's kind of the thought process behind using M Film Look to get that really unique look to the footage. And then we had a little bit of lens blur, which just blurs those edges ever so slightly more. And you can, again, adjust the feather, adjust how much, the range, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really customizable effect. And there's also, you know, more stuff in here that you can change too. So that's something I've been using pretty frequently for that kind of aberration, lens distortion type look. And then obviously we've got motion blur on all the speed ramps. I've just deactivated these or disabled these just for a smoother playback for your experience and for my experience. But there's motion blur on all the speed ramps as per usual. Then we get to hear this little film montage. Now this right here is just an adjustment layer. Again, Ryan Angle, shout out. But I used a 8mm film effect, and it just adds that, you know, film overlay type look. You also get that little notch, film notch, that I think looks pretty cool. I think this effect or something like this is a great way to just add to like quick little montages if you want to be like, it's kind of like a flashback, right? I picked one that had kind of orange tones to kind of contrast with some of the blue in the color grade. I think it looks pretty cool. This effect right here, this is a smooth zoom out again from right angle, because if we were to just watch this as is, it's just a slider shot. But if we add this, a little bit more dynamicism in the movement and the flow of the video, I thought it fit really well. Now this is a cool effect that a lot of people ask me about. I've seen a couple people do something similar. I wanted to try my hand at it. So start off with the base of kind of just this texture shot of these curtains, which I think were pretty cool. And then I added 2 other shots on top, scaled them down, as you can see, about 64%. Then up top, we've got the crop and feather effect. Now, if we turn this off, you can see what it's doing. This is how I got those rounded corners on the edge. So I had to mess around with it a little bit, but you can see right here's the roundness. This is where I was able to make those corners nice and round, kind of a cooler overlay type look, because it looks cool, but it just looks like you scaled. It looks pretty basic, and not saying that this looks more advanced, but it just looks a little less basic. You know what I'm saying? A little less basic, and that's what I was going for. So that's how I did that effect. And then finally, right here is another overlay. This is from, well, it's literally called overlay. I believe this was created by Landon, by the way, from Full-Time Filmmaker. Got this from a sample pack, as you can see. I then changed the blend mode to lighten, dropped the opacity to about 60%. And we get this cool like little overlay for the last little segment of the video. Again, it's just there to just add some extra sauce. It's just there to add some extra movement to look cool. And then finally finish off again, M-film look on the drone shot. If we turn this on and off, you can really see around the edges how we get blur, we get a little bit of distortion, and we get some of that aberration in there too. So that's all the visual effects that would be different from a typical video that I would produce. But I thought it looked really cool. If you want to pick up any of the products or assets that I use, links are in the description. If you found value out of this video, I know you're going to really enjoy this one right here. With that all said, I will see you in the next video.